Hello and welcome to the 119th episode of Downtime Podcast. Today, I have a guest, my brother Jordan. Hello. Jordan, how's it going?
Doing good. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, back again. So today we kind of have like a short agenda. It's not going to be too long of a podcast unless we start rambling, which I think at the very end we're going to ramble about something that we love. What are you playing? What are you playing right now?
So I'm playing Risk of Rain 2. Have you heard of that?
Yes, it's a roguelike, right?
Yeah. It came out a while ago. It's a sequel to one of my favorite games, Risk of Rain, obviously. But yeah, like it's a roguelike game. There's not too much content, although this recent update they added like a ton of new stuff, including like alternate skins for characters and alternate abilities, so you can like do different builds and stuff. But yeah, like it's a if you like roguelike games, it's definitely worth checking out. If you're not familiar with the genre, the basic premise is you go in as a certain type of character, and you collect items as you progress through levels and fight monsters. And then if you die, there's permadeath, so you lose everything. So each run you do, you try to get as far as possible and unlock new stuff, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's your typical roguelike.
Yeah, typical roguelike, except compared to the first Risk of Rain, this one is 3D, which is really cool. It's very stylized, and there's like all kinds of crazy abilities you can use. So it's really fun.
Awesome. That's so cool. Is that the only thing you're playing? Are you still playing No Man's Sky?
A little bit. Some of my friends have dropped off of it. But we are waiting on the Destiny 2 Shadowkeep update, which is coming this October 1st, which is not too far away.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends were kind of waiting on that, which is one of the reasons why we didn't buy Borderlands 3.
I was going to get into that, yeah.
Yeah, so I do have two friends who are very much against the Epic Game Store. I'm kind of whatever about it now.
Okay.
But yeah, two of my friends, they're very much against the Epic Game Store, so they're not going to buy it until it comes out on Steam, and like I don't want to play it without them, so I'm just kind of waiting for it to come out on Steam. And then plus again, we all play Destiny 2 together, which is also a looter shooter, so we're probably just gonna be playing Destiny for a while to kind of fill that void, and then when Borderlands 3 comes out on Steam, we'll play it there.
You're getting your fix, I see.
Yeah.
So you gotta wait till April. I mean, it's kind of far away, but still.
But I mean, there'll be other games to play in the meantime, so it's whatever.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, no, it came out and people are saying it's kind of buggy.
Yeah, I heard the optimization is bad, which like every AAA game that comes out nowadays, that seems to be the case, right? Where like it comes out and it's just poorly optimized. Like almost every game I've seen AAA come out, like that's the case. So it's like, what are they testing it on? Are they testing these things on like $5,000 computers and it's like, oh, it runs fine, and then when everyone else gets it on their normal computers, it's terrible? Like, or do they know it's poorly optimized and they release it anyways? Like what's going on? Right.
There's always like day one patches, even for like single player games too.
Yeah.
Like Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us, Yakuza, Judgment. Like anytime you pop a game in and you put the game on your hard drive, there's always a day one patch. I'm like, okay, what are they fixing? And like, it's a single player game. What do they need to fix?
Yeah.
Didn't they already fix this? Shouldn't it already be playable? I don't know. It's just developers think it's just so easy to just put it out there and just be like, okay, this game is out there, we'll just fix it later. You know, it's like taking a photo or making a movie and you're like, we'll just fix it in post.
Yeah. That's just one of the downsides of like live service games is they kind of rush it because they know they could just update it later, which I mean, there's some pros and cons to that. But yeah, a lot of developers nowadays just seem to have not sufficiently tested their product before they release it.
Yeah, exactly. It sucks. It's terrible, and they need to fix it. It's one of the many problems the gaming industry has. Yeah. But to the average gamer and the general audience, they don't care about that. They're like, oh, I got an update to do, gotta go do it, or like I prefer console because I don't have to worry about all this other stuff. Whatever.
Yeah. And I know not everyone can say this, but I wouldn't mind paying a little extra, or even waiting a little extra just for a game to be quality, Yeah. Like as long as it's not an insane amount more, but like I wouldn't mind paying a little like $10 more to make sure that the game is fully tested and all that, and if everyone pays that much more, then that adds up to a lot of money.
I feel like Nintendo games are really good at that. Like you don't really have to do too much because they already QA'd it to its fullest extent.
Yeah, and Nintendo always releases like quality content.
Yep.
Like I don't know of at least in recent memory, I don't know of any games that came out from Nintendo that had huge problems. Like,
yeah,
it seems like they're pretty good about it.
They're they're like the Disney of the gaming world. So
yeah, it mostly seems to be American studios that have this problem.
I was gonna say that. I didn't know if I should, but you said it for me.
Yeah.
It's true. I feel the same way.
Yeah, whether it's like Activision or EA or Bethesda or whoever, like Gearbox, like it seems to be all these. Some of them aren't solely American. Some have studios in Europe and Canada or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a lot of those Western studios, it seems to be. They rush the game and they release it and it doesn't work as well, and then they're just like, oh well, we'll just patch it later as long as we get all these people to buy it. That kind of sucks.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, everyone's always like, we should go back to a time when we didn't have to do update games and such, and glitches were just part of the game. Like if you fall through a level in Sonic Adventure, well, you can't update your Dreamcast, but you can always just keep playing it and not do that again.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to discount the efforts of game developers. Like,
totally,
it's a pain in the ass to make a game, I'm sure.
Yep.
But I guess the fault is on the publisher or whoever's higher up who's making these decisions to rush the game. Like, I'm sure these developers, they actually care and they're trying to make a quality product, but like whoever is making the decision to just rush these games in, they're the ones that are at fault.
Yeah, it's got to be higher management or someone who's like some project managers. Like, we got to meet a deadline.
Yeah, and it's like, if it's not ready, it's not ready. Like, I work in tech, so I know the value of like meeting a deadline, but also know the value of like if you release a product that is crap, like people are gonna shit on it, and it's gonna be hard to beat the competition.
Yeah, no, totally. That's just I think that's just the mindset people have right now, is just like get it out as soon as possible.
Yeah,
meet demand. But then like to your previous point, a lot of Japanese studios don't really have that issue. Mm-hmm. Like Sega in recent years, I feel like they've done a pretty good job, especially with like the Yakuza series. Like, they don't really need too much tweaking or improvement.
Yeah, well, except for maybe Sonic Team.
That's why I just said the Yakuzas because like that's like Atlas is also part of Sega, and they make the Persona games, and like they're fine. Yeah, like Sonic Team is a different story.
Something's going on with Sonic Team. Like they just have not been getting it right.
Yeah,
like when they let fans make a game, the fan made game was better.
Yeah, Sonic Mania is pretty solid.
So I Sonic Team's an exception to the rule, but otherwise, I agree. Like Japanese studios, it seems like they put a lot of pressure on making something quality, like making something great.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Sony, like all of their internal studios, so like Insomniac, like Kojima Productions now, Santa Monica Studios, Naughty Dog, like you could see that there's a lot of really good quality and work there, and I think that's coming from the top. In the Sony like headquarters.
Exactly.
They're like, you need to push this out, but make sure you do your testing first, because otherwise we don't want to release a broken game.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny too. Like, I just found out recently that Sega is actually headquartered in California. Like Sony PlayStation, sorry, not Sony the actual company, but PlayStation itself is headquartered in California.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I thought they were headquartered in Japan, but Sony proper is in Japan, not Sony PlayStation.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, because I feel like, in terms of like the types of games that come out, the big name games for PlayStation cater more towards a Western audience.
Yes.
Like a lot of the exclusives are more, like the biggest names on PlayStation, like whether it's like Naughty Dog games or Insomniac games, those are more Western style anyways. Yeah,
no, I totally agree. It's the way they flow and the way that the story is, I think it just appeals more to a Western audience. Whereas opposed to like, Square, they have a lot more longer form games that I think a Japanese audience would prefer. Not to say that Western audiences don't prefer that as well, but still, like, it's just a give and take thing. You kind of have to be in that mindset to understand it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, to each their own. Wow, that was a long tangent. So that's all you're playing, right?
Yeah, just those two things for now.
Cool. In the last podcast, Alyssa and I talked about Judgment. It's a whole Judgment spoiler cast, so I won't really gush into that, but I did finish Judgment. The story was good. Definitely, Alyssa and I want to see more about where it's going to go in the future. We just want to hopefully see more games of this caliber and this quality. So, some news for you, Jordan. The Yakuza, the most recent Yakuza game was announced, or it will be announced, or it will be released next year Yakuza 7 as it's known in Japan, but in the West it's called Yakuza Like a Dragon. And the Japanese name for the Yakuza franchise is not Yakuza, it's Ryuga Gotoku, which means like a dragon in Japanese. So in a way, it's for Western audiences to not be dissuaded by a numbered sequel, to also reboot the franchise in itself, since the 7th game is about a character that he gets put in jail for 18 years for a crime he didn't commit. So basically, his boss was like, hey, this guy committed a crime, but I don't want him to be the one at fault. I want you to take the blame. And he's like, yes, I'll do anything. 18 years later, you come back, and he's like, where's my family? And the family's like, sorry, you have to die. And then the boss that let him take the fall shoots him. And he wakes up and he's like, where the hell am I? And this old homeless guy's like, well, you're in Yokohama. And so the game takes place, I believe, in the original city of Kamurocho, but also Yokohama. And there's been a divisive factor for the audience and fans of the game series, because this is the first game in the Yakuza franchise that features turn-based combat. And it's not real-time action. As you've seen me play before, where it's like a brawler style. Yeah. This upcoming one is turn-based. And there's a lot of people that hate it because they're like, why is this in my Yakuza game? It's not Yakuza to have it like that. And there's other people that are like, well, I welcome this because I love Persona or I love Final Fantasy, and I really want to see where this goes. And there's people like me that are like kind of iffy about it, but I'm welcoming it because like the Yakuza games are known for doing something different and doing it well. Like they take inspiration from other games and they're like, how do we take that, make it our own, and make it better? And I feel like they're going to do that.
Yeah, it's always iffy when you change the fundamental mechanics of a game. For example, BioShock 1 and 2 are very similar in that like you get plasmids and you get weapons and you can collect all of them and use whatever ones you want. And then in BioShock Infinite, they made it so you can only carry 2 weapons. So you have to keep swapping out weapons. Instead of just carrying them all and upgrading them all, you can only carry the 2. You just have to figure out which 2 you like or which 2 are available at the moment, and then only use those. And I found that kind of jarring, but I get it. It kind of forces you to do some variety. But I do miss the ability to just have all those options. So, I mean, that's maybe not on the same fundamental level as just changing active combat to turn-based combat, but like you get the point. Like, it can be jarring to a lot of people. But again, if the game is quality, I'm sure plenty of people will play it. But I do feel like that's a weird choice to just suddenly change one of the fundamental parts of the game.
Yeah, no, like why did they do it for this one? And I'm thinking personally it's because it's a soft reboot of the franchise. Yeah. So they have a new main character who's probably going to take them into like 6 or 7 more games after this. So in order to keep that momentum going, they want to like change something else to make it different and make it unique and to make it memorable. And turn-based is not something a lot of people in the West enjoy too much. They associate that with like Final Fantasy or Pokemon or any other JRPG that has it. And there's a certain audience that enjoys that, but there's also a certain audience that's like, I want my real-time combat. And like seen in like the remakes or the remake of Final Fantasy VII, whenever it comes out, it's real-time combat as opposed to strategy or like turn-based. So I mean, I'm excited for Yakuza 7. The story looks fun. Like the main character looks funny. Like he made a reference to Dragon Quest in the trailer. He's like, my story's finally coming together like Dragon Quest. I was like, what? Okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, whatever.
Is it supposed to take place in modern times?
Yes. Okay. Each game takes place closer to the future. So basically, each game takes place in the year it came out in. So the first one takes place in 2006, and the remake, of course, still takes place then, and so on and so forth. And Judgment takes place in 2018. Okay. One of the staples of the Yakuza franchise as well is that all the games always take place in December. Don't know why. There's some producer, someone high up was like, let's make all the games in December. And I'm like, okay, why? But anyways, yeah. So that's coming out. So building off of that, just finished Judgment, loved it, want more, excited for Yakuza 7, but kind of cautiously excited because I don't know how the turn-based combat's gonna be.
Yeah. And like, if it turns out that this one doesn't sell that well because of the turn-based combat, then they can always just flip it back, right? Like, I'm sure, I'm sure, like, if they realize, people don't like this and people aren't buying the game because of it, then they might just change it. So, again, like any game, they're going to make a judgment based on how well it sells.
Yeah, no, totally. Like, every Yakuza game always has some of the same mini games. Like, they always have an arcade where you can go play retro emulators. They have the darts mini game. They have, like, so on and so forth. So I'm pretty sure they're paying attention to what fans like and what they didn't like, and they're going to keep some of those elements and so forth. So Yeah. So like, I guess like a small thing is like in Judgment, you can't buy drinks from vending machines, but in Yakuza 6, you can go to a vending machine and buy a drink. And I think they removed it because maybe not a lot of people bought drinks from the machines. I don't know. It's a small detail that I noticed. I was like, oh, this isn't present, even though they use the same engine, whatever.
Yeah.
So now that I finished Judgment, I was kind of like taking a break and trying to figure out what else I was going to play. But yesterday, the Stranger Things DLC came out for a game called Dead by Daylight.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
So my friends are like, hey, it's on sale. We got a crew of 2 people. We need more people to join. They're like, do you want to buy it? And I was like, why not? So I bought Dead by Daylight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so is the monster the Demogorgon or?
Yeah, I'll get into that. So before we talk about that, you've seen probably videos like people playing Dead by Daylight. Kind of understand the general concept.
Yeah. It's like kind of like a asymmetrical competitive game.
It's a asymmetrical horror game.
Yeah.
And in Dead by Daylight there are 4 survivors and 1 killer, and every character in the game is always controlled by a person, a player.
Yeah.
So in total there's 5. I haven't played as the killer not professionally. I haven't played as the killer outside of the tutorial, is what I'm trying to say. And I don't really particularly like being the killer. I just feel like there's too much to do. Even though some people are like, oh, the survivors have a lot to do too. They have to evade. They have to get the generators. So the base game of what Dead by Daylight is about is there's 4 survivors. There's like 3 to 5 engine or generators that you have to find in the map. You have to start those generators while avoiding the killer, and the killer can be any there's several licensed characters that the game.
Yeah, don't they have like
utilizes.
Jason and like
yes,
other
and
stuff?
Michael Myers and so on and so forth. So it's kind of cool. And so you're following. So the killer's trying to find the survivors and hook them on these giant hooks. Yeah. And the survivors are trying to avoid the killer and rescue other survivors and also work on the generators. If there's more people working on a generator, the faster the generator gets fixed. There's these little things called I forget what they're called now. Basically, a noise will happen in your headphones. Little like spinning thing will appear in the middle of the screen, and there's like a little like area where you have to press spacebar in. Like it's like a quick time event kind of. And if you don't hit spacebar in time, the generator will blow up and cause noise.
Okay.
And the killer will be like, "What's that?" And the killer can go towards you, find you and all your other friends, and try to hook you. If you get hooked 3 times, you instantly die. The first time you get hooked, you're just sitting there waiting for someone to help you. The second time you get hooked, you could actually die. You have to press spacebar over and over and over again. Like you can't stop pressing spacebar unless someone helps you, and that's the most nerve-wracking part.
So like the more times you get hooked, the worse it gets. Basically.
Yeah, pretty much. So the second time, like this giant needle is about to stab you, and you literally have to keep pressing spacebar as fast as you can until another survivor comes and rescues you. But the killer can be waiting there for the other survivor, like using you as bait, the third time you get hooked is the final time, and you just instantly die, and you get taken somewhere spiritual or whatever. So yeah, I've been playing mostly as a survivor. It's been fun. Right now you can build out different characters, and there's different levels. There's different like in-game currencies, so on and so forth. There's costumes you can get, but they don't do anything except for pure cosmetic value. Yeah, the different killers are really interesting. As you mentioned before, there's licensed ones. But the reason why it's actually free this week. So if you want to play it, Jordan, we can play it together if you want.
Yeah, I might check it out.
If anyone's listening, Dead by Daylight's free week ends on September 23rd. So, look out for that. Get it now. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Maybe we can play together. I don't like being the killer. I'll be the survivors. So the DLC Stranger Things is really interesting because the killer is the Demogorgon. Each killer has different like perks and abilities that they have. So the Demogorgon can leap and lunge, and something unique and interesting about the Demogorgon is that you can build portals.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so you can build like, I don't know how many. I think there's like a limit of 5 or whatever. So you put them out into the world, and you can teleport to them. So you can put them basically wherever you want. And then you can use one to dig your way into and like face the other tunnels, and you press a certain button and you can like teleport to that, and then you can just like come out of it. And it's kind of cool.
Can the survivor players, can they see where those spawn points are?
Yes, and they can destroy them.
Okay.
And every time you destroy them, they get regenerated back to the Demogorgon.
Okay.
And the Demogorgon has recharged them, because when you use them, they're a one-time use unless they get destroyed.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they added a new map, which is Hawkins Laboratory underneath.
That's cool.
So they have like, the gateway to the Upside Down. I believe that's how you escape. I don't know what the escape route is because I've never survived that map. And my friends were saying that it's the most complicated map like yet.
So each map has like a different objective or something like that?
Each map has the same objective, which is fix all 3 generators, find the door, open the door, and escape.
Mm-hmm.
If 3 of the 4 players get caught and die, the last player, there's like a secret hatch somewhere in the map. We don't know where. It's somewhere in the map. And it's your only escape route that's not the generator. Because like as a last player, you can't work on all the generators because the Demogorgon or whoever is going to go find you.
Yeah, so they have to make it balanced.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're the last one left, there's a secret like special hatch that'll open. This is for every round. That last person has to go to that hatch, escape, and that's how you win. That's how the survivors win. Otherwise, the killer will win if you, of course, find you and kill you.
Yeah. I'm assuming there's like a time limit, right?
I didn't see one. Actually.
All right.
Yeah. I don't think they're timed. I think it just depends on how long you can stay alive.
Okay.
I think there might be some timed ones. I'm not sure. The ones that I played with my friends, like they were not timed. I didn't see a timer.
Because I believe there's a similar game that came out made by the same developers. It's like Blood Harvest or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's more of like a shooter.
It's fast paced.
Yeah, it's more faster paced because it's. But I believe in that one the area starts closing in like a battle royale, just to kind of force you to have to do something. So I was wondering if that was like a thing in Dead by Daylight, but maybe not. Maybe it's more slower. Yeah,
there's just a set map. There's nothing that closes in except for the killer. Yeah, and so the DLC also adds 2 characters, Steve Harrington and Nancy Wheeler. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, they're modeled after the actors and actress. So that's pretty cool. Steve has his Scoops Ahoy outfit that you can get.
Okay.
It was really weird seeing him. My friend was like, "Oh my god!" And she bought it.
Do they have voice lines?
They scream.
Okay.
They don't really say anything. I haven't heard them say anything. I heard them like grunt if they get hurt. So when you're the survivor, if you get hit once by the killer, you start like clutching your side, and if you get hit again, you're down, and the killer can pick you up and take you to a hook. Okay. So there's only like 2 hits, and then you're down. Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're voiced by the actors themselves. They're they just sound like generic versions, and that's okay. But they look like they're from the TV show.
That's cool.
That's pretty neat. And I've been building Steve up because my friend was like, "Yeah, you should just build Steve up and then see how you like him and so on and so forth." Because you earn these things at the end of every match called blood points, and you can use those blood points to upgrade your characters. And each skill tree that you choose from is like 3,000 to 4,000 blood points, but you earn like 12,000, 13,000 per match. So they add up and they cap at like 99,000, I think. And then at that point, you have to just keep using them. Yeah, like by 2 matches, I was already at 50,000. So I was like, okay, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it easy and accessible for people to just play the game.
Yeah, because otherwise it's unfair if like someone can level up really easily and then just have a bunch of advantages over other people.
Yeah, no, totally.
So that makes sense.
So there's 2 levels in the game. There's the player level, and then there's the character level. The character level is like how far up you've leveled that specific character.
Yeah.
So at level 50, for example, if I leveled Steve up to level 50, I can prestige him. And then, like Call of Duty, you reset, but you get like a special thing or whatever. Yeah. And the player level is like how new to the game you are. And so you start at 20, and it actually counts down every time you play a game. Like, and whenever you play ranked matches, it'll keep going down, down, down. So my first match ever that I played, one of my buddies was like, "Oh man, there's a level 8 guy in here." I'm like, "What's bad about that?" He's like, "Well, that means that he's played a lot, and he knows like it's bad because they basically match people's players levels
similar."
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that means the killer is going to be really experienced and really hard. But that's hopefully someone playing as the killer is the person that's not hard or whatever. But so they try to level match it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I just thought it was interesting that they leveled down instead of level up. I was like, oh, that's cool. So yeah, they get mad whenever they see a level 5 person. They're like, "What the hell? What are you doing here? Like you've been playing too much."
Yeah, I mean, just because someone plays a lot doesn't necessarily mean they're good. But, I mean, generally speaking, it does mean that they usually know more of the mechanics than you do, or techniques at least.
Yeah, no, I mean, you and I have played games before. We're like, oh, this guy's this level. Like, hopefully he's good, and then he's not that good. We're like, what the hell?
Yeah, I guess you play every day, but doesn't mean you're good.
Yeah, like what is it? Dino D-Day doesn't have levels, right?
No, I don't think so.
We just like, okay. But I remember you and I would play a game together and like, oh, this guy's this level. Like, no, he's not that good. Never mind.
Yeah. Like whenever I would play like Overwatch, you'll see someone with like the gold border and all the stars, and you're like, oh, well, this guy must be really good, and then they kind of suck. But like, or maybe they're just playing a character they don't know. Yeah, that could be it too.
This is my ult. It's not my main. Like, okay, so whatever, dude.
Whatever.
So yeah, I've been playing that, and I just wanted to talk about another 3 games that I found that are also asymmetrical horror games, and I know that one of them came out recently, another one that's in early access, and another one came out last year.
Yeah, it seems like they're getting really popular.
Yeah, and I think this might be the next wave of games after the Battle Royale phase.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun. So everyone knows the Friday the 13th game came out as well.
Yeah, that's basically like Dead by Daylight, right?
Yeah, it came out, I believe, after Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight came out in like 2014.
Yeah.
And the Friday the 13th game came out in 2015 or 16. But yeah, so that's made by Ilphonic, and they're based in, I think, Colorado or North Carolina, and also Seattle. And they released a trailer this past May that I didn't know existed. It's for a game called Predator Hunting Grounds, and it's basically you play as 5 soldiers that go into the jungle. You like have to do like this mini mission where you kill NPCs, and then this other player that comes out is the Predator from the Predator movies, like the alien creature.
Cool.
So Ilphonic has had a history of licensed games. They know how to deal with those kind of IPs, and their forte is apparently asymmetrical games like this.
Yeah.
So it kind of just made sense to me. The trailer looked pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of the Predator franchise, but I thought it was a step in a new direction, because every time you think of asymmetrical horror game, you think of dark and moody and stuff. But like this trailer took place in the broad daytime in like a green jungle.
Yeah, I don't know if I guess it kind of counts as asymmetrical horror. I don't know about the horror part, but it's definitely asymmetrical. What was that game? Evolve? Remember that game?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that went down the drain, but
it did.
That was one of the first like mainstream asymmetrical games that I remember.
Yes, me too.
But I think their business model was kind of messed up. So
that's why it failed.
It didn't work. Yeah.
So yeah. Ilphonic's Predator Hunting Grounds is supposed to come out next year. It looks pretty cool. I don't think I'm gonna play it. It looks like Call of Duty meets like asymmetrical horror games, because you could like do aim down sights. You know, you can do all the soldier stuff. Yeah, you have a gun. You're a soldier. You have a gun, so you can fight. You're against. In Dead by Daylight, you can't fight against anyone. Like you literally have no other way to fight. Like you have to just run away.
Yeah.
You can't defend yourself.
Or do you remember that mod it was like a Half-Life mod, The Hidden? Do you remember that?
Oh, that game. Oh yeah, that was basically
it's the same thing. Where it's like everyone's have guns. You're soldiers.
Yes.
But then one guy is this like naked invisible dude with a knife. But because he's invisible, he could just he can kill you in one hit. But like he has to get really close to you, and then he also has flashbangs, so he can prevent you from like camping one spot. Yeah, I feel like that was one of the most first asymmetrical things.
I think so too. That came out way before all these games.
This is old. Yeah, it's basically what Minecraft Hunger Games was to like the current battle royale.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And who is it? Like, what's his name? Brandon Green, the guy that created PlayerUnknown. Like he was inspired by that. I think that's what he said. Like he was inspired by the Minecraft Hunger Games to make his battle royale games. But what was I gonna say? Yeah. So I forgot what I was gonna say.
Other asymmetrical games?
Oh no, it was about. Never mind. If I think about it, I'll say it. So other 2 games I want to mention are Last Year the Game, which is a game that takes place in 1996.
Never
asymmetrical.
Heard of it.
It was kickstarted a couple of years ago, and it got funded, and then it ended up only on Discord's Nitro service, which people don't use, and the player base dropped. They're trying to put it on Steam right now, but they've said that for like a year, so I don't know how far into it they're going to be doing that. It's all first person. There's like 5 or 6 survivors. You're all different teenagers who have different perks. But you have weapons to defend yourself. And there's one killer, and they're based on like generic models. There's like 3 so you can die as the killer, and you can respawn as like, I think you only have like 3 versions of it, and they have to like recharge or something over time. But there's like a small, fast, skinny one. There's like a medium one, and there's like a big, giant, burly one. And you have to like, of course, find all the survivors. The survivors have to do all these different tasks to open the exit gate, and you have to get through the exit. pretty typical asymmetrical horror stuff, right?
Yeah.
Except for the fact that the survivors can, defend against the killer and use they can find guns or whatever and shoot it. I'm like, damn, why are there guns at this high school?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the thing I wanted to mention earlier was if you have Half-Life 2 on Steam, which pretty much everyone does, you can play The Hidden, which Jordan mentioned. It's free. There's probably like 50 people playing it. That's not that many people.
Probably, yeah. Well, I don't know about now, but yeah.
Yeah, like when we were playing it years ago, it was fun. Basically asymmetrical horror. You're a SWAT team with like 6 people. Everyone has guns.
Yeah, there's different like builds or like different classes you can choose from.
Yeah, and the Hidden is like the secret genetic experiment that's a human, and they're like invisible all the time, and they have like super strength and super speed, and they can find you and kill you. And I don't know, it's fun. It's just different, and it's definitely pre all these other asymmetrical horror games.
It's one of I would say the first versions of this.
Totally. It's cool. So if you're looking for something free to play that's asymmetrical horror, definitely try out The Hidden on Steam. Mm-hmm. Anyways, the last one I want to mention is called Hide or Die. It's an early access large-scale asymmetrical horror game. You can have up to 16 survivors.
Oh.
And
how many monsters are there, or killers?
So you start in an underground bunker, and when the doors open, you have to scatter and find resources. Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
Battle Royale.
Yeah.
There's this darkness that slowly closes in, and if you look at one part of the darkness for too long, you become a killer. Oh. And so it's basically this game of, what is it called? Sardines. If you catch someone or kill someone, they become a killer too, and then it just keeps going. Yeah. So it's like Battle Royale meets asymmetrical horror.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and everyone has guns. I have to emphasize that it's very fast-paced.
Can you only kill people that are affected by the darkness? Because otherwise people would just kill other survivors in the beginning, right?
Yeah, you can only kill people that are affected by the darkness. And so there's random mobs outside too that are like zombie-like creatures that you can kill and get points or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like a battle royale meets an asymmetrical horror. It's still more battle royale-ish since everyone has guns, and I think it's different too. Like, it looks cool. It's definitely early access. It's got that feel, and it was also based on Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. So I would be very wary before purchasing that game since it's not something that's released fully yet, and it looks promising. But again, like last year, the Nightmare had such promising potential. It was supposed to be the Dead by Daylight killer. Mm-hmm. Everyone was like, this game's gonna be better than that.
Yeah.
Came out, only released on Discord Nitro, and everyone's like, what the hell? I'm not gonna play this. Because, people are, like you said before about Borderlands, people are loyal to their platforms.
Yeah.
And everyone loves Steam. So, yeah, they're not, once it comes out on Steam, I think last year the Nightmare will actually have a bigger player base.
Yeah. There's a game I want to mention. I just remembered it. I played it with a couple friends. It's free to play on Steam, and it has a, maybe not completely original, but a different spin on the whole asymmetrical horror. So it's called Deceit. Have you ever heard of that?
Heard of that. Yeah, I never played it though.
Yeah. So basically, and I'm pretty sure there's other games like this, but the general concept is you have 6 survivors, and 2 of them are infected, but you can't tell immediately. So they're the killers, but it's kind of like Mafia or like Town of Salem, where you kind of have to figure out who the infected are. So at some point, the infected players can reveal themselves by turning into a monster, but at that point, the other players can just easily defeat them with like a gun or like a flashbang or any kind of device to disable them, and then just try to escape. So what you want to do in the beginning of the game is try to trick players into eliminating other players who aren't infected, and then turning into a monster and killing like the last guy that's left. Mm-hmm. So basically, there's a lot of communication that's involved, and then as the infected, you have to there's like these blood bags that you need to collect in order to be able to transform. Like, you have to consume these blood bags. Mm-hmm. So you have to be really sneaky about it and like only consume them when no one's looking. And so everyone's like constantly watching each other. And then what's cool is there are weapons. You start out with nothing, but there are weapons. But the only way to get those weapons is for another player to help you do it. For example, there's a shotgun, and the box that has the shotgun in it will only open if another player is stepping on a button, like farther away. So it requires you to cooperate in order to get the weapons. So there's a lot of trust involved. So it's a lot of communication, a lot of trust. If you're playing with a group of friends, it's really fun because then, depending on how well you know your friends, you got to figure out who's lying or who's telling the truth. And then, there's like several, different items you can get. Like there's a camera that has a flash. So when you flash the monster, when they're in monster mode, it'll stun them. But yeah, like if you have a group of 6 friends, I highly recommend checking it out because it's really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, and again, the name is Deceit, so it's all about like tricking each other. It's like Mafia. I see. Yeah, but it's a similar concept to like Dead by Daylight, where like you have to like turn on these generators. There's certain objectives you have to do, and then at the end, a door opens up and you have to run out. And it's the monster's job to try to either trick the survivors into killing each other or to turn into a monster and kill them all. But it's easier if you trick them into killing each other and then just kill the last guy.
Cool. Yeah. Wow, awesome. I think I'll have to check that out. I'll pitch it to my
it's
friends.
free. It's free. So definitely try it.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the hot tip.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving on from what we're playing, talk about some brief news stuff. We already talked about Borderlands 3 and how we're both kind of waiting for it to come out on Steam. E3. So some plans for E3 already dropped. Now, E3 is managed by the Entertainment Software Association, ESA, and they want to make it into a fan/media/influencer festival for 2020.
Yeah, I heard about this too.
Yeah, so two of their big draws that they're trying to pull for is that they're going to have big stars. For example, they want to have the LA Lakers playing NBA 2K on the floor.
Okay.
My reaction as well. They also want to have big influencers. You know, the whole Keanu Reeves thing.
So when they say
viral.
influencers, do they just mean famous people in general, or do they mean people who actually are related to games?
So by big stars, they mean like LeBron James, Keanu Reeves, you know, people like celebrities. And by big influencers, I think they mean like people that make videos on YouTube about games.
Okay, that makes sense.
Games journalists that make video reviews or whatever.
Yeah.
So they want famous influencers to come that are related to games or like have strong opinions about games and to show their faces and talk about stuff. Yeah. One thing I found funny about it was they in their slide deck talking about the preparation and like pitch for E3 2020 was that they want to have something called Qtainment. Qtainment is they want to have access to consumer data captured through the app, which is like a E3 app they're going to have available that people can download prior to the convention so they can like look at stuff or read news live or whatever. Or have a captive audience as people wait in line for demos. Which, like they made up a word that is used to talk about things that people can do while they're waiting in line. So they can like get a demo on their phone or something.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because like if you go to any kind of convention, there's a lot of waiting in line.
Yes.
So giving someone something to do while they wait in line makes sense, and I'm sure they can get metrics off of that. And
right.
I don't really see a problem with it unless there's some kind of weird catch. But
microtransactions.
Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, like every kind of convention, like I've gone to a convention for work. I've gone to an anime convention. So it's like every convention I've been to, they all have apps now. Yeah. And I feel like that's really useful because it's like instead of using like a paper map, the app will have a map on it and it will show all the times of things and stuff like that. So I feel like that's really useful for the consumer. And then on the business end, I'm sure they're tracking like which ones you are actually clicking on, what's the most popular events that people are checking out.
Data.
So yeah, it's all data. So like I feel like whatever this Qtainment thing is fine as long as it's not, you know, predatory microtransactions or something.
The word is just too much though. It's a mouthful. Qtainment.
Yeah, I get it. But
like I know what they're trying to do. And
like you're waiting in a queue.
Yes.
And it's entertainment.
They could call it linetainment. Well, that's they both just sound terrible.
Yeah, I don't know.
So building off of games, GameStop is going to close more stores. Mm-hmm. Sadly, they're going to lay off more people. And I mentioned before in a podcast that they're trying to revamp, and I think I talked to you about it.
Yeah.
They want to have like an esports team. They want to make stores more focused on retro games, and so they're trying it out in some states. And like I don't know, there has to be a lot more interest.
Yeah, I feel like this is inevitable. You know, like GameStop is the blockbuster of games. Like
sad.
It's creative destruction. You know, when something new comes out, it's gonna unfortunately wipe away something that's old. Yeah. And GameStop is an old business model. I mean, maybe in certain countries it's probably still doing just fine, but at least in US and a lot of like, more, how do I put it? Technologically.
First world countries.
Yeah, first world countries that can afford good internet and
Yeah,
downloading and streaming and stuff. Yeah, like the people are going to choose convenience. And I think I've said this before on the podcast, but yeah, people are going to choose convenience if they can afford it. And I feel like in the US especially, people are just going to choose convenience, which is not GameStop.
That's why I feel like there's no mom and pop retro game stores in San Francisco, because the median living wage here is so high, people just order from Amazon.
Yeah.
You know? Like, literally, there are 2 GameStops in San Francisco that I know of, and those are the only places in the city that you can go to get video games, just video games, you know? You can have your Target, your Best Buy, or whatever, and buy games there, but like, if you want just games, then you have to go to GameStop.
Yeah, and of course, like Best Buy and Target are not going to have the pre-owned games.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Or the old controllers or anything like that.
GameStop's whole model was built on pre-owned games.
Yeah.
And I remember when we used to go to GameStop, or before in our mall when it was called Software, etc., you know, like we would go there, look at all the games. And I remember it changing from like, you know, at the time N64 games, and then they had like NES games like on the side, like you could just get if you wanted to, because they're old. And over time it was GameCube, and then the N64 games are on the side, and then it was like DS, Wii, and then the GameCube games are on the side, and they just kept phasing out more and more and more. And now it's to the point where the Wii games are off to the side, the Wii U games are off to the side, and it's all about Switch, and, you know, just using Nintendo as an example. But still, like to your previous point, like GameStop as a product of its time. It hasn't really changed much, and that's not a good thing. Like, they need to evolve with the market and with players' interests and players' needs.
Yeah, and like you were saying, they're banking off of nostalgia, but all these companies realized that, and they were like, "Oh, you like our old games? Here's our old games on like the NES Mini and the Sega Genesis Micro or whatever it's called." And
yeah.
You know, like they're just, or like Nintendo has like the what's it, the
NES Mini and the SNES Mini.
But they also have like
the online system.
Online service.
Yeah, Switch Online.
Where you can get old games through that too.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure like Sony and Xbox probably have stuff like that too. So it's like they realize people want these old games, so now they're selling it back to you through like subscriptions and stuff. So like some people who don't own an old console aren't gonna go to GameStop anymore to buy one or to buy old games.
Yeah, why would you?
Yeah, you can just get it like for a cheap amount, like a cheap subscription. You can get all of them for, you know, on all these different services.
What is it like for Nintendo's online Switch system? It's like, what is it, like
$20 a year?
Yeah, like $20 a year, you get like 60 plus games from 2 different systems. Like right now, like eventually, hopefully they're gonna add N64 and maybe Dreamcast, and that will just be that will push everyone over the edge that owns a Nintendo console. They're like, the Switch can play everything Nintendo owns. Why should we play these unless, you know, you want to play Banjo, which of course no one wants to play it on the Xbox. They want to play it on their N64. But they want to play it on their Switch now because it's, you know, Banjo's on Smash, and now they want a version on Nintendo. But I'm going on a tangent. So it's all about consumer needs and demands. And even though right now you can go online to GameStop's website and buy retro games, like I've looked and they have GameCube games on the website, but you don't know if they come with a case, and you don't know if they're really scratched or not.
That's true, because you can't look at it yourself.
I was watching this YouTuber. His name is Modern Vintage Gamer. Shout out to you. He bought a bunch of games, retro games, on GameStop's website. Most of them didn't come in cases. Some of them did. And it's just like, he was like, it was a crapshoot. Some of them were really cheap. And he's like, this one probably didn't come with a case. It came with a case, but it was like the generic GameStop one. He's like, this is not what I wanted. So he got a bunch of games. He was disappointed that GameStop sent them in like really bad quality. One of them didn't even work. And I was like, damn, that's why you don't buy retro games in GameStop.
Yeah, like you're better off just buying it from eBay where they have the actual pictures. Like you could still get ripped off, but at least someone on eBay will probably give you more information. And again, if there's someone who actively sells this kind of stuff, you'll see reviews of, you know, people who bought from them. So you're probably better off just buying it from eBay.
I've talked about this in the past, but I bought a bunch of pre-owned GameCube games from eBay. I always did my research about the seller, their feedback, you know, all that stuff. And luckily, every game that I've bought from eBay that was a GameCube game actually came and was like good. It was like good quality.
Yeah, I assume it was probably more expensive than buying from GameStop.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
like you're saying, you're paying for the quality. So
Yeah. Like some of these games now are like super expensive. Like Pikmin, it's like $70, and
yeah, I saw that.
I paid like 30 something for it, and now I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sit on this, until a certain time period.
We'll see.
Yeah. So unless they put it on Switch, right?
So probably will.
Yeah, but like retro games are so big now. Like everyone wants them. Everyone's in on them. And Sega came out with their Genesis Classic. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, GameStop is trying to bank on that, and they're trying to become the mass-produced mom and pop retro shop. And like, it doesn't work that way. And I think they know that. But this is their only way to revamp their whole structure, their system, and try to make it better.
Yeah, we'll see. But again, it's going the way of Blockbuster right now.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just interesting about them, since everyone that's a gamer has a long history with GameStop. Okay, so we're 2 days away from the Area 51 event that everyone's supposed to be going to.
Yeah.
And on September 10th, 2 Dutch guys were arrested in Area 51.
Yeah.
Did you read about this?
Yes, I saw this too.
They jumped the fence.
What are they thinking?
So one of them is a YouTuber.
Of
Obviously,
course.
you got to vlog it. Got to do it for the vlog.
Yeah.
He and his friend, they ignored the signs, went into the complex, were promptly arrested, were asked if they can read, write, and speak English, and they both said yes. And they were like, "Why did you ignore the signs?" So these guys have really interesting names. So the first guy, his name is Thijs Granzier. He's 20 years old. And the second guy is named Govert Charles Wilhelmus Jacob Sweep, and he's 21.
That's a long name.
I don't know why they included his full name. The other guy, they just had his first and last name.
Okay.
This is from a CNN article.
Okay.
So yeah, they were caught, and they said that they didn't have any intention to storm it because they wanted to leave on the day before the actual storming dates, and they just wanted to go there, which is the dumbest logic and response you can give.
Like, I hope that a bunch of people gathered like near the area just for the memes. Just be like, hey, here we are. We gathered near Area 51. But if you're stupid enough to try to cross the fence, like, what are you expecting? Like, what exactly are you? You're going into a military outpost.
A highly secretive, highly defended military outpost. And of course, if people don't know, this is an event that was created in March of this year. And the event on Facebook, which is still up, by the way, is called Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us. And the description reads, "We will all meet up in rural Nevada and coordinate our parties. If we Naruto run, we can move faster than their bullets. Let's see them, aliens."
Yeah, obviously it's a joke. Like, it's a meme.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Meme. But you know that some people are going to take this seriously. Some idiots.
Totally.
Like, if flat earthers exist, some people are going to go to this and take it seriously. Like, there's people stupid enough to do this.
The creator of the event even like made a battle strategy. He's like, he made like a map, and he's like, all right, on this side, we're going to send all the Kyles first.
Yeah.
Everyone
or
named
the
Kyle.
furries.
Yeah. And like, clearly this is a whole joke and a meme, but of course, as to your point, people are going to take it seriously and actually do it.
Yeah, or there's going to be people who know it's a joke, but they take the joke too far. Like those like those guys who climbed the fence, I'm sure they knew it was a joke, but they were like, well, let's do it for the views. Let's do it for the subscribers. And it's like, it's stupid.
Those 2 guys were sentenced to a year in jail, but that sentence was suspended, and they will only spend 3 days in the county jail if they pay a fine of $2,280 each, which is expensive. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, for trespassing, it's not too harsh.
On federal government property, though.
Yeah.
Maybe because they're Dutch nationals.
Yeah, they could get complicated.
Yeah. Anyways, so that whole thing is stupid. In 2 days, we'll see. There's going to be a bunch of articles, either that no one showed up, some people showed up and just stood there, or someone got hurt, someone died or something. I don't know.
I feel like something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Not anything like crazy, probably, but like some people are probably going to go there.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. Well, a lot of people, like 1 million people, said yes to the event. The hotels in the area were all called up. They're all full now. People booked
Yeah,
rooms.
which pretty much guarantees that somebody's going.
Yeah, there's gonna be people there. They're probably just gonna hang out on the really far radius.
I feel like it's people just hanging out, just having a laugh about it. You know, makes good video content. Be like, here we are, video Area 51. But yeah, I just hope no one does anything stupid.
Yeah, please don't. If you're going to that event, don't be dumb and try to climb the fence. Like, please, like you can go to jail or worse, get shot and die.
If you really thought that there were aliens at Area 51, don't you think the government would do something about it because this is a public event? They could see this. Like, don't you think if they believed that this was a threat, that they would have done something about it? Now, like moved the aliens or something.
I know, right? They probably would have done it and no one saw it because it was dark.
Yeah. So it's like, what are you thinking? It's just a joke.
You go there and they're like, well, see, no aliens. You're like, oh.
They let you in. Hey, you want to take a tour of Area 51? Look,
welcome.
It's all empty. There's nothing here.
Yep. It's
like they moved the aliens.
Yeah. Why are you guys protecting it? I don't know. It's a government facility. Get away.
Yeah. We're just flying our planes here.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that whole thing is just dumb, and we'll see what happens.
I want to see what content comes out of this.
Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of videos about it for sure. A bunch of YouTubers, dumb ones. Maybe Jake and Logan Paul will be out there.
Yeah, it just shows you the power of a joke on the internet.
Yeah,
like a really dumb call to arms. Like you can make anything big if you make it ridiculous enough.
I mean, it's like all those people like doing Naruto runs around Trump Tower.
Yeah, or doing the Goku stream, screaming like Goku. Like it's kind of a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
that the internet can allow people to do stupid stuff. Like as long as no one's getting hurt, and no laws are getting broken, other than I guess loitering maybe, but that's not a big deal. But then it's fine. People are welcome to do like sort of dumb stuff like this as long as it's not so dumb that people are getting hurt.
Yeah. Someone posted on Reddit a while back when this thing was at the height of its blowing up. Someone posted on Reddit like a slideshow during a military Air Force conference or just talking about like something about I guess the event, and it was a picture of Naruto and the instructor was like putting his hands behind his back running and they're trying to explain the Naruto run in like a slide.
I saw another post about that where they were explaining the Air Force they're probably not taking it seriously,
right?
So like these guys, they are required to practice making presentations, so someone probably just thought, oh, it's a good idea to use this meme online that's about us, and I'll give you a practice presentation about this. So they might not actually be taking it seriously. It might just be like someone playing around and be like, oh, well, they're planning on storming Area 51, so might as well use this as my presentation content.
Well, the government did come out with an official statement and say like, please don't do it.
Of course.
Because you have to, it's something about their own territory and they have to say something.
Yeah, they can't completely ignore it.
No,
again, there could be idiots who take it seriously, so they have to say something.
Yeah. Well, 2 days from now, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And by the time this comes out, it probably already happened. And in which case, we'll talk about it on the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about in the news is something that you and I are very familiar with, and we did a whole podcast based on this whole franchise. It's called The Battle at Big Rock.
Yeah.
It's a short film set in the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World universe. And for those that don't know, this is a short film that takes place after Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the second movie in the Jurassic World franchise. It is written and directed by Colin Trevorrow, co-written by this other woman named Emily Carmichael, and it's about it takes place 1 year after the events of Fallen Kingdom, and it's about a family that goes on a camping trip 20 miles north of the complex where the dinosaurs were released in Fallen Kingdom, and it takes place in this fictional park called Big Rock National Park. So it takes place in Northern California, and it's about a family that encounters dinosaurs. It's only 8 minutes long. The special effects are really good, and they have to deal with, seeing dinosaurs and living with them.
Yeah, as a short film, as a standalone short film, it's fine. Like it's the special effects are good, the practical effects are good. What happens is pretty predictable. If you have a baby. In any kind of scary situation, you know exactly what's going to happen with the baby. The baby's going to cry, all that. And then they do some setup in the beginning, and the setup gets paid off. So it's fine as a short film. It's pretty good. But as a part of a larger whole, as a part of the Jurassic World / Park universe, I have some problems with it.
Yeah, we both do.
I have problems with the implications.
And if you've heard our last podcast about talking about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom spoilers, you know that we hate it with a huge passion. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of gaping problems. And I was reading a tweet that Colin Trevorrow came out last year, and he said that the lagoon isn't connected to the ocean. There was a huge oversight. Like, I should have been there to correct it. And I'm like, dude, it's too late. And so he was like trying to retcon it by saying like, oh, the maps in the park are wrong. But I'm like, clearly you could see in a shot in the first one that it's not connected.
And also, why would the maps be wrong?
Yeah, exactly. Why would they be wrong about that? And so then he's like, no, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to retcon. So now all the fans are like, oh, we're stuck with this wrong layout now.
It's just like, again, I don't want to get too far into Fallen Kingdom because we talked it to death.
Yes.
But basically, I'm having problems suspending my disbelief. Like, there's just so many, like, and I talked to you about this before the podcast, but like, Michael Crichton, the guy who made Jurassic Park, he puts a lot of effort into making it believable. Mm-hmm. Obviously, resurrecting dinosaurs is not a real thing, because if it was, it would have been done by now. Yeah. It's not actually possible. But like Michael Crichton in his books, and he has another book called Timeline, and it's about time travel.
Yeah.
And he puts so much effort in time. Yeah. And again, time travel is not real as far as we know. Otherwise, it would have been done. But he puts so much effort into making the science seem possible and doing so much research to make it seem legit. Mm-hmm. And then in Jurassic Park, same thing. And then in the Jurassic Park movie, they go through the effort of showing the audience the video of how the dinosaur cloning works and how the DNA is incomplete, and they replace it with the frog DNA, and like just explaining everything, making it as believable as possible. Yep. And there's just so much wrong with the way that they're doing Jurassic World, where it's kind of hard to believe any of this stuff is happening or why it's happening. Like, it's really hard to suspend my disbelief.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like you mentioned before we talked, it's like a 10-year-old playing with Jurassic Park toys.
Yeah, and it's like, wouldn't it be cool if the world was just covered with dinosaurs? And it's just like, but why? How?
Yeah, like you released like 50 of them or whatever.
Yeah, just track them down, tranquilize them, or kill them. Like, sadly, but again, they're an invasive species. They don't naturally belong there.
They're gonna
and they are very dangerous.
So let's like kind of talk about the short too. So in the beginning of the short, he's like, there's bears out here, and then I'm like, well, these dinosaurs are gonna eat the bears, and then you won't have bears to worry about. No, you just have dinosaurs to worry about.
And one, why would you risk going camping knowing that there's dinosaurs? And they have a line about like, oh, I didn't know they would go up here. It's like, and like you said, it was like 20 miles, right?
It's 20 miles, and it takes 1 year after. Yeah, so everyone knows about it.
And these are huge animals that travel really far. So how would you not expect to run into dinosaurs?
And the guy was like, yeah, the park ranger told us like not to touch them. I'm like, the park ranger should tell you to fuck off and not even be there.
And okay, let's say this is a world where dinosaurs do exist and it's just kind of accepted.
Yeah.
Would you not have precautions at least? Would you not have like an armored camper and a gun maybe? Would you not at least, if you even decide to go camping, like bears exist.
Yes.
And when you go camping and you know that there are bears out there are a ton of precautions you take to make sure that bears don't get into your stuff.
Bait traps.
Yeah, like locking your stuff in a cooler in the trunk, or like, you don't, like, you have to prepare for this. So it just makes it seem like dinosaurs just magically spawned and everyone's caught by surprise.
It's been a year.
But it's established that they're a thing. So
it's been a year.
The logic just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just seems like bad writing, again, if you're looking at it as a whole. Like, if this was about a family who's going camping in the woods and then they are suddenly surprised by dinosaurs. Let's say this takes place right after Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. Like, they're just having a normal day, and suddenly, what the heck? There's dinosaurs out here. What is going on?
Yeah.
I mean, they're familiar with the existence of dinosaurs because Jurassic World has existed in this universe for a while, but they're not expecting them to be in this camping ground.
Right. But
they clearly establish in this short film that they should have known that this could happen.
Yeah, and you're 20 miles away from it. You know they're gonna go there. Dinosaurs don't stay in one spot; they migrate and they go places.
Yeah, but then again, backtracking to the whole idea of this being part of a bigger world.
Yeah.
Why are these still out there a year later?
Yeah. Like, shouldn't you find them and stop them from breeding? Because like there were some male and female ones, and in the beginning when they're showing the Universal logo, you hear like a news report, right? And she's like, "This could be the first dinosaur born in North America." I'm like, then stop it.
Yeah, they're huge. They're easy to track down.
Right. And so then after that, so the family's camping, right? And he's like, be careful of bears. And then like it's like a husband and wife, their 2 kids and 1 baby, and they're in like this little camper. And so they're out there, and then you hear like you see a snout of something, and then it like breathes a little bit, and the dad's like, oh shit, look, and then they all turn off the lights, they get and they hide and they look and they see this giant. I have the name here. It's not Triceratops. It's Nasutocerops. Yeah. And the little girl's like, I know what that is, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, here we go, Jurassic Park with kids again. And then she's like, oh, look, there's a baby. And the baby's like trying to play with like a flashlight or like a lamp or something. Yeah. And then, but before that, my favorite line was the parents were like, it's one of them. And they see that it's a dinosaur. I'm like, man, you're treating that dinosaur like with some racial like discrimination right now.
It's one of those.
Yeah, one of those things. One of those things.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And so they're like, oh, don't worry. It's a plant eater. It's not going to hurt us. And then an Allosaurus comes out. I'm like, of course there's an Allosaurus. And then it starts attacking them. They're fighting, and it looks like the Allosaurus is about to win. But the Deus Ex Machina thing comes out, and a male Nasutoceratops comes out and starts defending it, and like, oh, they're backing away. Yeah. And conveniently, the baby starts crying. The Allosaurus like quickly does. The Allosaurus turned its head so fast. It's like, what's that? It just came over there and it's like, what's in here? And it just starts attacking it. And the parents are like, oh my god! And it turns the camper over, much like in Jurassic Park Lost World. And I was like, oh, this reminds me of that. The baby is somehow still okay, stuck in this seat, which I didn't know how. And the Allosaurus is like trying to sneak in and eat the baby, and the parents save it. The Allosaurus completely destroys the camper after it was turned over, and it's like the dad's like fighting it off with this like giant metal stick, and then the wife comes out with a fire extinguisher and hoses it down, and it's just like, argh! And then there's like really weird shot where they show a landscape shot of the Allosaurus and the 2 parents trying to like fight it and backing off, and then you see like these 2 crossbow bolts come out of nowhere, and this girl's like, oh hey, I did it, like the daughter did it. And then like they were kind of foreshadowing it before in the beginning, where she
talks about the friend or the other guy camping with them.
And then dad's like, you shouldn't be touching that. Hey, you touching that crossbow? And she's like, and they were like, oh, that was like the only part of it that I was like, oh, this is a really short film, because they foreshadowed that.
I mean, there was a setup and there was a payoff, so
and I was like, okay, so the girl saved the parents, and they're like, it's okay, baby, and then it ends up by pulling out, showing the destroyed camper, and then some guy comes out of his camper in the background, and I'm like, okay. And the post-credit scene, the credits roll, and then they show like a bunch of mid-credit scenes where
the mid-credit scenes are actually, I found them kind of funny.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty funny.
I was laughing the whole time.
Yeah, I was like, but again, as a short film, that's pretty hilarious. But I don't know, it's just like Jurassic Park has some comedic moments, but otherwise it took itself pretty seriously, you know?
Yeah.
And whereas this, it just seems like a comedy fest. It's like, oh, look at all these dinosaurs running around eating your doves at your wedding.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh darn, those dinosaurs.
Yeah,
like what?
What do we do about this?
Yeah, it's like, and then there's those guys fishing, and they just see one, and it's normal to them. I guess.
Like, oh, that's eating our food. How do we get fish?
It's like, why has this been allowed to be so prevalent? Like, I'm pretty sure if the dinosaurs were released into the wild, there'd be some people being like, dinosaurs have rights. They're living animals too.
That's the whole second movie is about.
Yeah, but it's like you can fault Jurassic Park 3 for a lot of things.
Yes.
But Dr. Grant has a point when he says that the dinosaurs are genetically engineered theme park attractions. They are not real animals. They're not even real dinosaurs. They are pieced together dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like they're not real animals, and they're thrown out into the wild, and it's like they should not exist just running around. Like why are people letting them just run around?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true.
So I hope the third movie addresses that.
Yeah, and you and I were talking about how the third movie might be about like a team, a special government task force that's supposed to track them or like deal with them in some way. Sense. And like Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard are set to return, so they're probably going to be a huge part of that. And maybe the little clone girl's going to be in there.
Yeah. I remember, I forget where I heard about this, but there was an interview, I think it was with the director, and he was saying something about like, oh, the technology is out there. So like, oh, sure, all these dinosaurs got released, but also the cloning technology is out there because, Dr. Wu's out there.
Yes.
And like I believe in the second movie, they didn't just sell the dinosaurs. They were also selling the technology.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that some companies are probably going to clone dinosaurs for their own purposes. But again, like, why are there ones just running out in the wild?
Mm-hmm.
And if they do the whole militarized raptor thing, I don't. If this is turning into dino dystopia, I don't know how. I don't know.
We're gonna get we're gonna get clones of Dr. Wu. Like, he's gonna clone himself.
Yeah, are they gonna play more into that human cloning thing? Because they made that a big deal in the second movie,
and it was implied it's gonna be a huge part of the third one.
Yeah,
so we're gonna get that scene from the first one where he's like, "Hello, John. Hello, John." They're gonna clone Richard Attenborough and like do a deep fake, or they're gonna put his face, CGI his face on some other actor, and
they're gonna Tarkin him.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, "Oh, there you are, John Hammond. We've needed you," and he's like, "Oh, hello, I'm back."
It's going in a weird direction. Jurassic Park's going in a weird direction.
It doesn't feel like Jurassic Park anymore.
Yeah, and if you're like, well, what were they supposed to do? They're just gonna stay on an island the whole time. Well, I guess you could try some creative way of doing that, or you can just stop the franchise.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
I know is they're not gonna do. Come on, it makes money. No. They're not gonna do that. But from a creative standpoint, maybe there's enough story to tell.
Like I was telling you this before, but like Universal has such a long and varied history of movies. Like they started with like, you know, the monster verse with like Frankenstein, Dracula, the Mummy, all that stuff in like the 30s and 40s and stuff. And then as they went on, you know, they had these one-offs. They had like certain like fun movies. They remade some stuff. And over time, you know, with Hollywood tentpole movies being so prevalent and making so much money, they're like, okay, these movies are good, but how do we capitalize on the middle America audience and make these movies billions of dollars? So Disney felt the same way. And, you know, Disney built up these whole franchises to make them where they are now.
Yeah.
And Universal's like, well, we want to be Disney. So they tried making the Dark Universe cinematic universe with The Mummy with Tom Cruise. Didn't work out. Totally failed. They had this whole plan that went through the drain, and they're still working on it. So that was supposed to be their Marvel. Fast and Furious comes along and is like, hey, we're making billions of dollars every movie. And that is their Marvel. Honestly, like if anyone says otherwise, watch Hobbs and Shaw. Literally, they're superheroes with cars. That's all Fast and Furious is. Hobbs and Shaw is about two superheroes that fight a superhero the dude literally calls himself Black Spider-Man. Idris Elba says, I'm Black, like not Spider-Man, Black Superman. He literally calls himself Black Superman. He's a superhero. So you can't deny that these are superheroes in cars.
And those are the kind of movies where I have no problem suspending my disbelief.
Totally,
it's not trying to be realistic. It's not trying to be, it's just trying to be cool. It's the rule of cool for everything. And that's perfectly fine.
Yes.
But it feels like that's what they're doing to Jurassic World.
And Jurassic is their Star Wars. If Fast and Furious is Universal's Marvel, then Jurassic is Universal's Star Wars. And it's because these, you know, like each movie they're trying to go in a different direction than the originals were set forth from.
Yeah.
And oh my God, yeah, I've never hated a movie a lot more than I have Jurassic. Surprisingly, it's Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. And now that looking back on Jurassic World, the first one, I'm like, okay, actually there's a lot of things I don't like about this movie too, because of the fact that it leads into something more that I didn't like as well. And it's disappointing, but my only hope for the third movie is that everyone realizes that these dinosaurs are invasive species, and they try to like move them all to the sanctuary that the guy mentioned in the second one, the second Jurassic World movie, which I don't know if he was being honest or not, if there really is a sanctuary island. But if just go to Isla Nublar, or I'm sorry, Isla Sorna, and just put them all there. I don't know.
And then Jeff Goldblum has a line at the end where he's talking about like, if we're not careful, like they were here before us, and if we're not careful, they'll be here after us. So what is he implying, that dinosaurs are going to take over the world?
Post-apocalyptic dinosaurs.
Because again, it's like they're animals. They're not aliens. They're not zombies. They're literally just big animals.
They're not trying to invade the Earth. They're just
trying
to live.
What are people expecting? Like, the entire world is devastated because there's too many dinosaurs running about? Like, someone would do something about it before it got to that point, right?
Now that you mention it, I think I know what the third movie is going to be about. And I know there's going to be a fourth one because, of course. So the third movie is probably going to be about people trying to deal with dinosaurs. And now that these companies have the ability to make them, which is like 3D printing, right? Everyone can buy a 3D printer now. They quote unquote 3D print these dinosaurs, make too many of them, and the fourth movie will be about a post-apocalyptic world full of dinosaurs. I kid you not. That's probably what it's going to happen.
I feel like they're building again. I don't know if that'll be the case, but I'm sure they're building up to post-apocalyptic dino world. And then after that, where do you go from there? Once you hit apocalypse, how do you recover from that? You know,
zombie dinosaurs.
So yeah,
vampire dinosaurs.
Oh god, robo dinosaurs
space
from
dinosaurs.
space.
Yeah, there you go.
Robo zombie cyborg dinosaurs from space.
They're gonna pull a campy Godzilla movie. The only way to beat them is to be them, and they make a mecha dinosaur.
Oh no,
and they fight.
They're gonna do the dino human hybrids.
Oh no,
and it's just gonna be that sitcom Dinosaurs.
No, please, no. Do you remember? What was it? Jurassic Park Chaos Theory. What was it called? Chaos?
Something like that.
Yeah, like you can have like they basically combine two dinosaurs into these action figures. That's probably what the third and fourth movies are going to be about. Like combining dinosaurs. Like even though these, because it seems like there's a trend with the first two Jurassic World movies where it's like genetic tampering. And I feel like this is where it's going to go from now on. It's just going to be a bunch of genetic tampering.
It's just going to jump the shark or jump the mosasaur.
Yeah. You know? There you go.
Where it's, and then like the mosasaurus is out there, but there's only one of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they could be like it produces asexually, which some of the dinosaurs do
Jesus.
apparently. So it's just like those just gonna be roaming around everywhere, killing all the wildlife in the ocean. Like I don't know.
Well, you and I are still gonna watch the third movie no matter what, and we're gonna judge it hard. And we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna get angry at it.
Like I am 99% sure it's just. We're not gonna like it. Like I'm 99% sure it's gonna follow the same direction as Fallen Kingdom. It's just gonna be frustrating.
If the third movie is anything like this short film, then I know I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah,
because I don't care about people living with dinosaurs. Like it's a cool thought. Like it's like those children's books you get from the library. What if we lived with dinosaurs? You remember that book from the library? There's like a cartoon book, and then it's like, what if we had like dinosaurs?
Yeah, I care a lot about narrative. Like I believe that any story can go in a weird direction as long as it's executed well, like it's well told. And I feel like maybe there is some really interesting way for them to make this work, a world filled with dinosaurs work, but I feel like they're not going to execute it well. Like if they made it like, oh, well, this bioterrorist organization stole the technology and they're deliberately releasing dinosaurs into the wild to create anarchy or something like that. I'm like, okay, that makes more sense, and that makes more sense to like they're covering their tracks so no one can find out who they are and why they're doing this. But if it's literally just some dinosaurs got out and for some reason the government didn't do anything about it, and some other corporations are making dinosaurs and they're getting loose, it just seems like lazy writing.
I think the government's going to sue the Lockwood estate because they're the ones that brought them illegally to California and then released them.
And if they don't, then why not?
Yeah. There has to be better writing is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Like I feel like any story can work, but you just have to execute it properly. And I feel like the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, like it was just not executed really well.
Yeah. No, agreed. All right. Final thing about this, what do you think the third movie is going to be called? Jurassic World what? It's going to have a subtitle.
I don't know.
Jurassic World
Dawn of the Planet of the Dinosaurs.
It's got to be like Jurassic World Prehistoric Sunrise.
Jurassic World De-Extinction.
That's a good one. Jurassic World. How about that? Jurassic World : World.
Jurassic World.
JWW.
Jurassic World : Jurassic World.
That's not confusing at all.
Yeah, like what? Jurassic World subtitle: Jurassic World.
Jurassic World the third.
Jurassic World: Life Finds a Way.
Oh, that's actually, you know what? Some marketing person just came. That's actually probably something they considered, to be honest.
Jurassic World Life Finds a Way.
Yeah, okay, that has to be that. Or it has to be like Jurassic World.
Okay, Jeff Goldblum better be in this movie, otherwise it has no saving grace.
I want to see.
I like Chris Pratt. I like Bryce Dallas Howard. Fine, whatever. But they've been in other stuff. Whatever.
I want to see. I want to see Jeff Goldblum because, like, you know, he's a busy guy. He's doing Marvel stuff. He's doing his own, like, you know, this little documentary show. Sam Neill, what's he doing? He could be on there. You know, he's not doing anything. He's just making wine in New Zealand.
Yeah, he can be old man Alan Grant. You know, he looks good in the beard.
Yeah, Laura Dern. She's not in Star Wars anymore.
so she sure.
Yeah, so she could be in Jurassic Park again, right?
Yeah, bring everybody back. Bring Kelly back from 2.
She doesn't even act anymore.
She's grown up.
You know what? Bring Timmy back. Bring Lex back.
Yeah, bring them back. They made a cameo in the second movie. Bring them back.
Bring the lawyer back. Do you have him have robot legs like that? Well, it's okay. They could do that. See?
No, wait. Isn't it the opposite? I think his upper half got eaten, so he's just legs.
Or they could just genetically make him somehow or something.
Yeah, bring it. Might as well. Look, if they're going to go campy with this, go full camp. You know what? If you're going to screw this up, go full camp. You know, bring the goat back. I don't care. Like
Steven Spielberg looks at the script. He looks at Colin Trevorrow. He looks back at the script. He's like, oh, okay.
if you're gonna never half-ass something. If you're gonna fuck something up, fully fuck it up.
Yeah, full acid.
Yeah, full acid.
There you go.
It's like throw in the robot dinosaurs, Mecha Dino. Just have people riding dinosaurs and fighting each other. I don't care at this point.
Get Ray back with one arm. You get Nedry back. Get Muldoon back.
And you can bring them back. You know why? Because they established that you can clone humans.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying
you can clone them all.
Bring John Hammond back. Bring the lawyer back. All clones. Everyone was gonna be a clone. Fuck it. Everyone's gonna be a clone.
just dystopian future where the only humans that exist are clones and dinosaurs.
I'm like them, and she presses the button like, oh, yeah, damn it.
200 years in the future, but you know what? We had cloning, and so we cloned Chris Pratt. So this is clone Chris Pratt, and it takes place in the future where there's the devastated dino dystopia.
Oh man, this is gonna turn to Resident Evil.
It's basically.
Oh no.
Basically, it's Resident Evil.
Chris Pratt goes into Dr. Wu's secret lab, and he just sees a clone of himself naked in a
Resident
tube.
Evil, the main girl Alice, I think she's a clone too.
Yeah, she is a clone.
Yeah,
and there are clones of her.
Yeah. So it's just like, well, no one ever dies because we just cloned them, and there's just infinite dinosaurs.
Yeah, this is So yeah, so we only know that it's gonna go downhill from here, and if it's gonna go downhill, you might as well go out with a bang.
Yep.
Anyways, yeah, that's been the podcast. Anything else, Jordan?
That's it for me.
Cool. All right. So if you want to send us a comment, go to www.downtime.live. Click on the section that says contact. It'll take you to a form. Fill it out. That'll go directly to our email, and you can send us a comment question there. You can send us a comment or question the old-fashioned way by going to contact@downtime.live. Send us an email. We'd love to read it, and we'll read it on the podcast. If you want to join our Discord, where we talk about everything from video games to anime to Terrace House to if you want to talk Jurassic, we're going to be there. You can go to the website and click on the left-hand side where it says community. Click on the word community, and it'll take you to a direct link to join our Discord. If you want to leave us a review on Apple Music / Apple Podcasts, iTunes, you can do so. We'll read it on the podcast. Leave us a comment on anywhere that this podcast is hosted. YouTube, Stitcher, Podbean, anywhere. We'll read it on the podcast. Yeah, that's it. Any closing words, Jordan, before we go? That you love Jurassic World?
Yeah. Life will find a way.
Very fitting. All right, everyone.
I do not endorse your park.
Even better.
I have decided not to endorse your park.
Perfect. You just hop in the Jeep and just drive away, fly out of the helicopter. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to the 119th episode of Downtime Podcast. Have a good night.
Night.